Hey, guess what, everybody? Go listen to the Break It Down show.
Hey, this is John.
And this is Pete.
And this week's guest on the Break It Down show
is Patrick Sieben.
Man, Patrick Sieben is cool.
He's a cool dude.
Yeah.
Man, he likes to have fun and live life to the fullest.
Yeah, he does.
And he wants you to do the same thing.
He wants you to do the same thing.
He wants you to do it with him in Las Vegas.
At the Aria. You should go check out Patrick Sieben. But in the meantime, listen to him on this week's episode. We hope you enjoyed as much as I did.
Man, we had a great time with him. Hell yeah.
Yeah, the dude is cool. Here you go.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh,
good,
there you
man.
are.
We're talking about your debut record, Under the Neon Lights. Man, we're excited.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Comes out next month.
Yeah, February the 24th. There's going to be a pre-release on iTunes starting February 10th. If you pre-order the album, you'll get 3 free tracks right away.
Man, right on.
I just tied up everything this afternoon, so it's been kind of a whirlwind of events this today even. I've been sitting right here at my computer just tying up all the odds and ends and getting the final masters back, converting all the files and submitting for iTunes and just everything that all like the not fun stuff that you have to do today.
Yeah.
I had to get everything tied up today. It feels great to have it all done.
So are you having a release party?
No release party planned yet. I'm sure we'll do something. I guess I was more focused on getting the actual album ready for release.
Right, you've had work to do.
Right.
Kind of putting the cart before the horse. I'm always thinking about the party, man.
Yeah. There's a party.
Well, I mean, I play in Vegas 6 nights a week, so it's always a party.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think it's going to be tough for you to muster a party.
Right.
So you're at Aria.
I am.
How's that gig, man?
It's great. Aria is such a cool hotel. It's modern. It's high end, but it's not like a snobby high end. It's just like a enjoyable high end, with a young crowd, and it's just a good place to go in every day and play a show. And the crowd's always a lot of fun. There's always a lot of people. It's always full. Yeah, very, very cool venue.
That's the sexy hotel. I mean, there are, there are older, stodgier.
You could work at the Trop.
Right. Yes.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And there's nothing wrong with the Trop. I actually worked the Trop. I always used to be a Captain Morgan model when I lived in Las Vegas. And one of the events that I would do sometimes is I'd go to the Tropicana pool,
Sure.
get the Captain Morgan party started, and I'd peace out. You also could be working at South Point, but you're not.
Sure.
That's true. But there you are at Aria. And do you work there 6 nights a week?
I don't. I'm there 4 or 5 nights a week playing shows.
That sounds a little more manageable.
Right. I play 6 shows a week, though. I play 6 nights a week. Sometimes I play over at like Hyde Nightclub at Bellagio, and a few other places around the Strip. And I like to travel a lot for shows as well. But the main gig is definitely over at Aria. That's been the residency for a little over 3 years now. And Aria's been fantastic.
Man, that is terrific. And now with you having an album out, what does that do for Aria? Because I think there's 2 things about that, and it could go either way. Maybe Aria's like, yeah, man, more people get to hear about Patrick. He's going to just have a wider audience than he's got now, and more people are going to hear his music, and it's going to be out there, and they're going to come to Aria to see him. On the other hand, that shit might take off, and then, Patrick's gone.
Who?
Well, I don't think I ever see anything really that way. Aria has been really great to me. I built up a crowd there over 3 years or so, and so many people come to Vegas once a month or once a year, however often they come. I see them making it part of their plans to come see my show. It's really cool. They know I'm always at Aria. I think that whatever happens with this record, I can still have a home at Aria if things go well and we start bringing in more people to Aria. That's great. If I can expand, outside of Las Vegas, which I'd love to do. I never want to fully leave Vegas, but if I can, I'd love to expand everything, far beyond Vegas as well. And there's always a spot to come back to in Vegas. And when you come back, you just bring with you a much bigger show.
Yes, indeed. Your gig at Aria, you force them maybe to expand the joint a little bit and get you more seating capacity, and that's always a good thing. So I'm glad you have that outlook, man. But really, that's one of the things that made us excited to have you on our show, is that you're just a fucking thirst for life kind of guy, man. You're just at it. And we love, the thing we embrace around here is the hustle. And that's the common theme with all our guests is we just get them to, okay, man, you've got an admirable hustle. Break it down for us. And that's the show. So the reason that we were excited to have you on here is you seem to be loving every minute of it.
I do. I mean, what's there not to love? I mean, I have aspirations for bigger and better, but man, in the meantime, I'm playing shows in Las Vegas, on the Strip every night. What's there not to love? You know?
Really.
You know, and as far as the hustle, there's really no choice. I mean, if you want to accomplish something, you just got to get up and do it. You know, I don't see it as I work any harder than anybody else. I just do what I have to do to achieve what I'm trying to achieve. And, you know, if you want to make it in the music industry, there's a whole lot of work that has to be put in to even get started. So.
Yeah. You know, we encourage everybody in whatever their hustle is. Your hustle just happens to be cooler than a lot of people's.
Whatever. Everybody has their own way, and that's great. I'm extremely lucky to be able to play music. I couldn't imagine doing anything else from day to day.
Well, hold on. This is one thing that we always do with our guests. Yes, you are very fortunate to have that. But you worked hard, man. You worked hard. And let's not forget that. You've been playing an instrument since you were 5. And that's what you do. So let's not forget that you have put a lot of work into this and paid your dues.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a mixture of everything. You know, you definitely have to put the work in, but I'm lucky to have been given opportunities to put in the work, you know, to have the door opened at Aria, for example. You know, if that gave me an opportunity to play in Vegas every single night, you know.
When you got started, you were a kid. Did you start with piano or guitar?
I started on piano.
Okay, so you're taking piano lessons as a kid, and you get those gratifying moments of learning that part that you've been working on and finally getting it down, and then somebody who you like hears you play and you go, oh yeah, that's cool. You know, you get a little adoration, you enjoy it. At what point did you turn a corner and go, this is it. This is me. This is my identity?
You know, I guess piano growing up was never kind of like what you're saying for me. Piano growing up, I was forced to play it. My parents forced me to play piano, and I hated it. I really hated it for a long time. You know, and then I hit like my teenage years. I started playing drums, and I started playing, you know, the so-called cooler instruments, you know, drums where I could bang on stuff.
Right.
Yeah. You know, and I started playing bass guitar, and I started playing guitar, and finally my parents let me quit piano because I was playing all these other things. So I started, you know, taking lessons, and I had to play classical piano, and there's nothing wrong with classical. Don't get me wrong. I majored in classical music, but it's not it's not me, you know, my passion. But it's a great foundation to learn an instrument, to learn how to do whatever. It's, you know, I didn't like piano growing up. And then once I finally was able to stop taking lessons, picked up the guitar, and I started teaching myself. I started doing it my way. And then after a couple of years of that, I brought piano back in. I was doing both piano and guitar, but I wasn't taking lessons anymore. You know, I was learning it my way. But I heard in my head, you know, I can read music, but I don't like to read music. I don't want to play what somebody else wrote down. I don't even want to play what I wrote down. I want to be able to play what I'm going to hear, you know, whenever I'm playing it.
Yeah, you're emoting all the time. And that's like you're a rolling good time, man, because you you know, you're doing that, you're loving what you're doing, and then you suck people into it. And I know that's what you love about not just the process of creating music, but how it makes people feel.
Yeah, I mean, I want to give an experience. You know, I get to experience while I'm playing it, and that's great. But I want to give people an experience when they come out to see me play. I want to make them have a good time. You know, I want to get a couple drinks in you and loosen up a little bit. You know, you don't always have to take life so seriously, and I think my show is a great time to kind of let loose and just enjoy.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, we were doing some prep for the show like we're supposed to, so we're ready for you. And one of the things that you talked about was obviously living life to its fullest each day, but also how you approach writing songs, which I found to be interesting. It's sort of the same vein where you're not into this regimented daily thing. I have to write a song every day no matter what. You kind of let the spirit move you and wait for the spirit to catch you and say, hey, you're inspired right now. You might be at the bank, but you got to grab that guitar and start playing the bank song. And
Right.
I dig that about you, man.
I feel like I would love to be able to say, hey, I want to write a song today. I feel like life would be much easier if I could do that. You know, I could write as many songs as I want or whatever it is, but I just can't do it that way. The other night, you know, it may sound like a good thing to you guys, but last night I was laying in bed. I was exhausted. I got to bed at about 4 o'clock in the morning. I laid down trying to fall asleep, and this song popped into my head. And I'm like, son of a bitch. So I just laid there in bed listening.
It is not time.
Yeah, shop is open. Get to work.
And then I reached the point I had to get up. I grabbed my guitar and I sat there for the next, you know, hour and a half, you know, downstairs in my studio, and I had to write the song. There was, you know, when all I wanted to do was go to bed, this song was there, and I knew I had to get it out. I knew I had to get something down so I wouldn't forget it in the morning.
You got to make hay when the sun shines, as the saying goes.
Even if the sun
shines at 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Right. It's always the inconvenient time.
That's some, you know, you're built for it, man. That's some rock star shit right there. It's like, okay, great. Yeah, he's good. You know, he's got a record coming out. He's got a show that he does 4 nights a week at Aria and other nights other places. You're staying busy, and then the muse hits, and you go, I got to get it. I got to capture it.
Yeah, you got to satisfy that.
Yeah, man. So
you do. I mean, if you don't, I feel like if I don't grab it, or at least a portion of it, whenever it comes to me, it just goes away. You know, it's like it flies by. I don't know how to explain it, but it comes in, and if I don't capture something, it leaves. You know.
Yeah, no, definitely. You have to serve the muse. Otherwise, the muse, she might just take off on you.
I'll tell you, the thing that I really like is when I'm listening to somebody, and the things that speak to me are those human emotions that are universal, like wanting to be a Taylor Swift song.
Let me say that. So Patrick has this song. It's off the new album, and it's about being Taylor Swift's boyfriend for at least 5 minutes. You know, and it's awesome.
It doesn't have to be long.
That's all I need to.
Dude, it's not gonna be long.
And that's okay. Yeah, we dug that. I mean, we listened to that song, and the cool thing about it is that you're not making fun of Taylor Swift in any way that's scornful or malicious or anything. It's good-natured, it's good-humored, but it certainly does speak to that human emotion of, that's Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
And she's going to write a song about me.
I wasn't very subtle of who I was writing it about.
Yeah.
That's true.
I would say
I mean, everyone knows she writes songs about her relationships. You know, everybody does. I don't know why Taylor Swift gets so much grief about it. Everybody writes songs about their relationships. She just seems to be the one that really gets the heat about it. I think, hey, taking 5 minutes, or well, let's pretend that it takes more than 5 minutes. But
let's say 5 months. 5 months is good.
Right. It just has to, it might just be one day, whatever it is. You know, it could be a fun experience, and then give her something to write a song about.
Yeah, 5 minutes is a shitter fling. 5 months is a whirlwind. So yeah, you need to get out of this shitter fling stage and last at least a couple of days.
Yeah,
if she's going to write a song.
As long as the song title isn't "I Thought You'd Be Bigger."
Or shitter fling.
Right. Don't get the bus now.
Yeah. I mean, we love Taylor Swift. We love what she does, and she writes about her relationships. And one of the reasons I think she gets criticized for it is she writes openly, like, this is about this person. And that's all right.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I mean, what Patrick's saying, everybody does it. You write what you know, and there's nothing you know more than how you feel in a relationship.
Right. Everybody does it. You're right, though. I think you hit a spot. I think she's a little more open about who her songs are about. And quite honestly, I mean, I think the media follows her life so much that if a song comes out around a certain time, it's hard for the public not to know who it's about.
And they want to know who's the song about.
Right.
I mean, we still don't know who You're So Vain is about, but she comes right out and says, oh, yeah, this one's about John Mayer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Where Patrick kind of goes a different direction. He's like, yeah, I really want to go out with Taylor Swift. Or he calls him out.
Right.
That's his I want to fill my black book with your name, and then whoever that star is going to be. And I'm not trying to pick him for you. You got to pick him yourself.
Because if somebody's interview question is, who's this song about? And you're like, really? Did you listen to the song?
Yeah.
I mean, let's not make it sound like I do that with all my songs. All my songs aren't trying to call out a girl. But this one just happened to kind of fall into place. Yeah. I guess a bit of a funny mood, and it just kind of hit me.
Yeah, it's meant. It comes across that way too. It's light, it's funny, but it still rocks a little bit. And absolutely, you're not a one-trick pony. That's obvious.
Well, no, thank you. So, no, it's a cool song. I like the way it turned out, and I love the way we got this like dirty rock feel out of it. Even though you're right, it's a kind of a light, funny song, but sonically we got this dirty rock feel, and it felt good the way it came together.
Yeah. Who inspires you? That's when you go to grab the guitar.
Taylor Swift.
Yeah, she is sexy.
You know what though? I want to say one more thing about the song is the dirty rock feel is what makes it work, because when a song has something that is, a serious topic, that's easy. But when you have a lighthearted song, it's a good time, feel good song, you kind of got to give it a little masculinity, just to get a little movement out of it.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way.
Yeah, I think that's what makes the song work, is that we get to laugh at it, but it still rocks.
Cool.
You got to get her and do the video.
I'd love to have her.
And just do the whole thing, tongue squarely in cheek, and just, do it.
I'll let you call her up and just let me know what she says. Right?
I'll call her up. I'll hit her up on Twitter tonight.
You know what? If I was Taylor Swift and I heard that song, I would say, Let's reach out.
Yeah,
to
fuck
Let's
yeah.
reach out to this guy.
Yeah.
Let's do the video.
I'm trying. I've tried a few different times to throw it her way. Unfortunately, I don't know anybody in Taylor Swift's camp. I did get her cell phone number from a friend a little while back, and I texted her the song right when I finished it, but I never heard back. So I don't know if it really, maybe she's changed her number by now, or maybe she just said, "Who the hell is this guy?"
Possibly.
Yeah.
But I've definitely tried reaching out to her, and I'm going to continue trying. It's just a matter of time before you run into somebody.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. The whole social media thing is there too. And you've got an automatic audience. So be like, hey, everybody tweet to Taylor Swift. Let's get this video started. Let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's Pete volunteering to begin the avalanche.
Oh yeah, shit, yeah. Man, I am going to tweet about that. I will absolutely do that. So
yeah, we'd love to see it happen.
Make sure you take Taylor in it.
So one of the other things we want to talk to you about definitely is your work with the Minnesota charity that you're a part of. Tell us the name of that charity.
So I'm part of a group called Serving Our Troops. It's actually it's not a USO tour. It's very similar though. We're the only other group in the US that is able to do these type of events besides the USO. So Serving Our Troops, a Minnesota-based organization. I've gone with them a couple of years ago. We went to Kuwait, and I performed on a military base. Camp Buring, which is right on the border of Kuwait and Iraq. It's about 10 miles from the Iraqi border out in the middle of the desert. There are 10,000 soldiers stationed out there. The rest of the group that I went with, they brought over like $74,000 worth of donated steak from Minnesota. The other guys went over there and cooked them up just this excellent top quality steak dinner. They're out there for a year or more at a time eating cafeteria food, which we had the other nights we were there too. I'll tell you, it leaves something to the imagination. But, they prepared them this meal and just made them feel like they were back at home just for one night, one day, forget everything that's going on, in the middle of their war zone, and make you feel like you're back at home just for one day. And then after the meal, they all came over to this amphitheater, and I played a show for them just to make them escape for a minute. Some of them lost their friends the day before, or were out in the middle of battle that day. And, they get to come back and just relax, just forget about war, forget about everything they're in the middle of for a night and escape.
That's big, man. That's big. That could be the night that really just turns a guy's whole experience around. And, well, I'm not going to say anything. I didn't serve, but Pete was over there for a long time. We have a lot of, we support anybody who supports the troops.
hell yeah.
And it's not just a blind supporting, support the troops, wave the flag and all that stuff. But
That
we
won't
really,
fly.
we have, a link to the Navy SEAL Fund on our website because we want people to give. We love to see when anybody throws their support into an experience like that for the guys who are serving, where what you're giving them is a little slice of just a little moment of solace. Because it's so important that we take care of guys.
It is. I think the thing that a lot of people forget oftentimes is you don't even have to support the cause of what, you don't have to support the war or whatever the war is at the time to support the troops that are doing it. We always support the troops that are fighting for us, even if you don't fully support the cause.
I'm glad you said that because I was trying to articulate that for you, and that's what it is. I mean, we don't get all political about it. It's not about supporting like you said, it's about supporting the troops. It's not about supporting the war.
Right.
It's a bunch of guys over there.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're doing everything, in their power to fight to defend us, and they deserve everything we can do for them.
Man, yeah, and seriously, as a guy that's been over there a lot, and as a guy that's ate a lot of that food, thank you very much for doing that. And seriously, I will say this about, military mess halls. I'm saying it the right way. The dining facilities are great. And if you had a meal there, you would think, man, these guys eat great because we eat great. But every steak is cooked exactly the same way, and it's not the way anybody cooks a steak. And a home cooked meal is different. It's wonderful. So the same food, you could take the same food and just make it for yourself, and it would be better because it's not made for 500 people. So that steak, thank you, because I've had that steak, not your guys' steak, but I've had that home cooked steak.
Sure.
And good Lord, thank you. That means a lot. And I'll also say this too: don't treat this lightly. What you've done is very helpful. Those dudes, Kuwait or not, wherever they're at, you literally can save someone's life by doing that. Give them that escape for a few minutes and give them another reason to get on to the next day. That's what it's all about over there. Getting through each day. And a lot of folks make really terrible decisions about their own longevity. And it could be that a song or something you did, or maybe you do that and they go on the internet and they get lost in your music for a couple of weeks and you get them through a bad stretch. I guarantee you, I can promise you, you have done that for somebody and you've helped them turn the corner, whether you realize it or not. I know it's happened.
Well, thank you. I mean, I appreciate hearing that. You know, I think a lot of times you don't realize, you know, when you're in the middle of doing stuff, you don't realize how much it is. But I mean, the reality is that, you know, I'm not over there to do that for praising myself, but it's just, you know, like you were saying before, they need it. That's why we're there, you know?
Yeah. Now I got to beat you up. Norway? Is that the place?
Right. Yeah. I went to Norway with the same group. We did it, about 6 months ago, this past summer. Right on, you know, the northern tip of Norway, right on the Arctic Ocean, you know, where Norway stretches over and it's almost touching Russia. We're like, you know, 5 miles from the Russian border. And there's a much smaller Norwegian military base up there, and they're our allies. We have some American soldiers stationed up there with them. I went up there, the same type of event. You know, they cooked up a great meal, and I went up and I performed for everybody afterwards. And yeah.
Man, that's cool. And again, thank you for doing that. Now I need you to get to a combat zone this time. You got to stop fooling around in Norway. And I'm almost in Russia. I'm almost in Iraq. I need you to get there now.
I would like to, you know, I think we're trying to, but it's tough to let, you know, you got to have the American military allow you and your group to go into an active militarized zone, you know?
Yes. If you guys ever need help with any of that kind of stuff, I'm glad to go. I can help advise and speak commander for you. But, and I am just giving you the business. What you do doesn't matter where you go. What you're doing matters, and you're doing a lot. So thank you.
So, well, thank you. I'm happy to do it, and I wish I could do it even more often.
What's it like when you're looking at an audience at a base in Kuwait and you look out, and I know, man, at the Aria, you're used to looking out over your crowd and just seeing a bunch of chicks. And there you are like, hey, good evening, everybody. Oh, man, there's nothing but dudes here.
There are women that serve.
Yeah, there are. But there's no alcohol, and everybody's wearing the same outfit, and you can't always cut loose because, you know, you're mentally not prepared to do it, honestly, you know? That's true. How do you work that crowd? That's a tough crowd. How do you work them?
It sounds like a tough crowd, but I'd say I think it's the most accepting crowd I've ever played for. You know, they all appreciate so much that we've all gone over, you know, all the way across the world to be there for them, to, you know, whether it's to prepare a meal for them and make them feel like they're at home, or or for me to play music for them. I think they're probably the most accepting, you know, the most accepting crowd I've ever played for.
Well, Pete, that makes you an ass.
Now, I mean, they're there because they have military orders to be there.
Right.
Well, once they're there.
Right. Yeah. Once they're there. Yeah, no, because I'm just saying, if Pete's saying, now that's a tough crowd, you're just saying that because you were over there being an ass.
Hey, maybe in Norway it's not a tough crowd, but I'll tell you what, you go to Bagram, it's a tough crowd. It's tough for those guys to break loose mentally, you know, it is. But, you know, different circumstances. Yeah. And I know they all appreciate it. I mean, I've gone there I didn't have time to stay for the whole show. But I've gone simply to support the fact that you're there and to be there in front of other troops. And heck, you don't want to travel 10,000 miles and have 18 dudes show up. You know, you need some people there. So again, man, thank you for doing that.
Oh, I'm very happy to do it.
Moving on.
Okay.
What else you want to talk about, man? Tell us some cool stories about playing in Vegas.
Oh man. Well, this is a podcast, so it's not, so I don't have to worry about editing.
Yeah, you can say stuff like, well, no,
let her rip.
Well, let me think of some stories for you here.
Do you know Frankie Perez? He plays out there. He used to play at Red Rocks also.
Yeah, you know, I've run into him. I don't know him very well. I know we played a lot of the same rooms.
Yeah, he came out to Iraq too, and did a concert. That's where I met him first time. So,
oh, very cool.
We're gonna have him on the show eventually. Also, he's a cool dude.
Great. Yeah, I've heard great things. I haven't gotten to see his show live yet.
Because you're doing live shows.
Right, that's the problem.
You play on the same nights.
So much. There's so many shows I want to catch, but when you're playing 6 nights a week, you don't. Everybody's playing at the same time. You know, I have a show whenever someone else is going on. But
that's the thing that people don't understand about musicians. And when you go to, you know, if you go to a concert and you see some other musician at the concert, you know, like you go see, I don't know, Prince, and Carlos Santana's there. Like, okay, great. You're there and he's there, and terrific. But civilians don't realize that this is special for this person because he's usually at work right now too.
That's true. Yeah, it's very true. It's really nice to be able to see, you know, somebody else play just because we're always working. You know, the beginning of this year, I played, I think, the first 14 nights straight, in January.
Wow.
It was just craziness. Everything was just very busy out here in Vegas, which was fantastic. And, I played every single night. And then I had a Saturday off, and I had to be back in Vegas playing Sunday night. But I had Saturday off. I saw 2 days beforehand Dave Grohl and the Foo Fighters announced a secret show in LA.
Wow.
So I got tickets. I got in my car. I drove out to LA, after my show Friday night, got there Saturday, and went to the Forum. He comes out on stage, and it was 17,000 people, sold out, and it was his birthday party.
Yeah.
So he's like, you guys thought you came to a Foo Fighters show. You're fucking wrong. This is my birthday.
Wow.
So he had Alice Cooper there. He had David Lee Roth of Van Halen, and Zach Wilde, Jack Black, Tenacious D, Slash, all these guys on stage jamming with him. And then so I watched that show all night long. Had to get back in my car, head to Vegas for my show the next day. But that was the best way I could have spent a day off.
Wow.
He said David Lee Roth of Van Halen. Like, he needed to make sure that we knew what that was.
Yeah.
Hey, so we were looking at your stuff as we were getting ready for the show, and one of the things we realized is you seem to have one of those sweet spots. My example for this sweet spot is David Bryan from Bon Jovi. That guy can be as famous as he wants to be because he's in Bon Jovi, but that guy could go out to the grocery store.
He can go get a pizza.
Sure.
You can be like, yeah, man, I'm a resident performing artist at Aria. Hi, my name's Patrick Sieben. And they'll be like, oh yeah, I totally know who you are. I saw you once. Or you can be like, hey, my name's Patrick. I'm buying your cassava.
I have a baseball cap on, and I'm shopping for produce.
Well, Vegas is such a cool spot because there's a lot of celebrities that live out here, like Carlos Santana.
Yeah.
And Flava Flav. And, there's so many just like celebrities that live out here. And it's not like LA or New York. There's not paparazzi all over the place. I'm not talking about myself, but these big celebrities, they can walk around like anybody else. And Vegas is a spot they don't get bothered.
Yeah. If you live in the town where Flavor Flav might be in the same building as Carrot Top, you can pretty much fly under the radar.
Yeah.
Right.
They're going to suck all the attention away from everything else.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah.
One of the things that I always loved about Vegas is that you did get to see that. And there's a way to do it right, and then there's a way to not do it so right. And so one of those guys that, in my opinion, thinks that doesn't quite do it right is Chris Angel. Because he'll show up in his all blacked out Lamborghini with the specialized hubcaps and his license plate frame that says Mind Freak. And his license plate says Mind Freak. You're like, dude, chill out.
We're doing it just a little bit.
Just be Mind Freak. We'll do one thing,
So, man, working 14 straight nights.
God damn.
The first 14 nights of the year. Man, this guy works hard.
Says the guy's like, I just got lucky.
That's a lot
that
a
ain't
lot of work, man. What is it that, what could drive a person to work that much? I don't know, maybe throngs of screaming chicks?
Throngs of thongs.
Yeah. That helps.
How much can it be considered work when you're just playing music?
Yeah.
It is, physically demanding. It takes a toll on your body, your voice, all that stuff. And it is work, meaning that you have to go there and you gotta, when you do it over and over again, it's a lot of work on, physically, and it's just fun. There's nothing I'd rather be doing. I'd play every single night if my body would let me.
Yeah.
One of the things I found crazy about Vegas when I lived there, one is everybody's like, you live in Vegas? Oh my God, how do you do it? Like, well, first off, I don't live on the Strip.
Right.
I live a mile off. The other thing that people don't get is how hard it is, how long it takes to get anywhere in Vegas. It's not like LA where there's
Everything
traffic.
in Vegas is far.
Yeah. Trop and Pecos is about a mile and a little more than a mile off the Strip. It will take you almost an hour to get to Aria from my old house.
Yeah.
It just to get to work, like for you to door to door for you, like door to guitar in your hand, how long would that take?
Well, that's funny. If you lived a mile away and it took you an hour, I live about 13 miles away. It takes me about 15, 20 minutes.
To go from your house to the guitar in your hand?
Getting back and forth. I don't know if you were on
Trop gets a lot of crazy people on it.
That's true. Tropicana gets pretty nuts.
And to park and to walk, the places are so huge. It's a big place. Like, I had a friend that always wanted to do all the roller coasters in one day. I'm like, man, you can't do it. There's just no way. It's too big.
Right.
Yeah. I stayed at Caesar's Palace one time, and I had just a room that was not off the beaten trail. It was right in the middle of everything. And the convention center was a 15-minute walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you never left the hotel.
And I've never left the hotel. How big is Aria? Is it that big?
Aria is huge. I think it's like
Gigantic.
4,500 rooms. I don't know if it's quite as big as Caesars because Caesars is massive, but it's just as big as,
Everything else.
It's
Yeah.
huge, yeah.
It's a giant hotel. You don't kind of realize how big it is until you get in. You see how, there's a few different buildings. It's huge. Yeah. And, when I play some other places too, you got to load in equipment. And like you were saying, it can take you 15 minutes of pushing a cart full of gear to get to the venue that you're going to.
Just to be in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I would valet and have all my Captain Morgan stuff like in a big old Captain Morgan treasure chest, and I'd valet because that's the easiest way to get in. And man, I'd be walking for 10 minutes like, oh god, this thing's getting heavy,
Right. And you parked at the closest entrance too.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's what I'm talking about. It takes a while.
All right, that was us killing time so you could think of stories.
Well, stories. All right, let's see.
Who've you sat in with, or who sat in with you?
Well, last week, oh man, having him sit in would have been great. But last week, I finished my night, and I played my last song. I got off stage. I walked by, and this guy stops me, and he goes, "Hey, man, I love your music." And I go, "Hey, thanks a lot. I really appreciate it." And I shake his hand, and I kind of continue on. And I stopped, and I turned around, and I looked back, and I'm like, "Wait a second." And I asked, they have, table service there. I asked one of the servers, I was like, "Please tell me they did like a, paid with a credit card or a room charge." And sure enough, they did. I said, look up who that room was under. And sure enough, it was Steve Perry of Journey.
No shit.
And I'm like, did I just walk past you, shake your hand, and like give you the polite, thank you very much, and then continue and you're Steve Perry?
Wow.
And I just got like the greatest compliment in my life, and I almost missed it.
Yeah.
You almost missed it. I wonder if he thought to himself, I remember when I used to blow people off like that.
No, I didn't.
I'm just kidding.
Not at all.
You
I just think he was probably thinking. I don't know. He's probably thinking to himself, "Am I really that old that this young kid doesn't know who I am?"
Well, he's a Bay Area guy, so we love him, and
he's awesome.
My wife
loves him.
Loves him. He's sort of in the midst of a popularity resurgence, but he did go away for a long time. So I'm sure he's kind of gotten over the people not recognizing him. I'm sure he probably welcomed it for a long time.
I went back and I talked to him a little further, but then I was at the point where it's like, I can't say, "Hey man, I'm sorry I didn't recognize you, Steve," because then I'm the dick that didn't recognize Steve Perry at my show. So I was in this awkward spot of like, I want to go back and talk to you further, but I can't really acknowledge what happened earlier.
Right.
Oh,
now you can play that off if you go back.
Right. So it was a little bit awkward, but he was a really nice guy. It was great for him to reach out and say something to me. It was cool to hear from somebody like that. But
yeah, that is awesome.
Let's see, this other time. All right, this one gets a little weird. Keep in mind you're at Aria, which is like this classy casino, not stuffy, but really classy, really nice casino. And we're playing here, and things are getting a little crazy at the night. Everybody's up dancing. These two guys start, kind of get in the middle, and everybody circles around, to give them space to dance. And we look up, and there are these two guys, one of them with a blindfold on and a ball gag in his mouth.
Oh, jeez.
Both of them with their shirts off.
Say what?
Yeah.
No. I'm being
go
real
ahead.
here.
I'm
being real here.
Yeah.
Both with their shirts off. And one of them is whipping the other like bare ass with a belt. And I'm like, we're at Aria. This is like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Now it's a party.
Play. I don't know where this came from.
Do you just vamp and get right into like Master and Servant by Depeche Mode, or what do you?
We were playing some like really relaxed old song at the time. And I'm like, how does any of this make sense? What is going on here?
Man, and they picked that time.
It wasn't long before security came in, and broke it all up. But, it got interesting there for a little bit. I'll never forget that story.
That is a good story.
That is good. I was going for more of that story than, hey, one time Steve Perry came to see the show. I like the Vegas stories that, it happened in Vegas. It stayed in Vegas, whatever. Nobody knows who had the ball gag.
Well, if I tell
that's
you,
a good story.
Well, you're in Vegas, so you can say it. It's all right.
There's a guy with a blindfold. He didn't see that you told. So what else, man? Come on, you got to give. I wanted to go for not the who did you sit in with, but what about that one night where there was a bachelorette party and they couldn't. They tried to see who could hit you with their panties.
You said one night?
One night? What? It's every night. I'm like motherfucking Tom Jones in this shit.
Hey, that's for our listeners who've never been to the Aria. That's the Aria experience, man. The chicks there are wearing cocktail dresses, and you can't. Yeah, and they're all. You got to be bad to walk into the Aria.
It's just a house full of gorgeous people. Things. I mean, everybody's got to come out to Aria and just hang out at my shows. You got to experience it for yourself. If you go to patricklasvegas.com, you can see the nights I'm going to be there. You got to come out and hang out. Everybody's gorgeous. The music is okay. I like to think.
The music is good. But yeah.
It's a fun time.
So you do a great job of this. If you want to understand and hear Patrick's music, you can go to his website, which is patricksieben.com. If they want to find you at Aria, because Aria is a big barn, man, where do they go to find you and your show? Yeah, you're playing there, but where are you going to be at?
We're at Lift, which is right off the casino floor. If we're playing and you come in, you're going to hear us.
All right.
So once again though, if you check patricklasvegas.com, you can see, or patricksieben.com, you can see all the show dates on there. We're at Lift, right inside Aria. It's right off the casino floor. It's hard to miss. We're there all the time, man.
Man, you really can't leave. You got patricklasvegas.com.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, but it's World Wide Web, It works.
That's right.
It's the World Wide Web.
But now you got to stay in Vegas. That's patricklasvegas.com. I just wanted to say that all the time.
So, okay. So here's my question for you. As a younger artist, you're going to put your first album out. It's not like the old days when you're going to sell 10 million albums. That's just, those days aren't possible right now, but you do all the other stuff. You do YouTube and obviously you play out. What does a young person do besides what you're doing? Cause you've got a great gig. What is someone who doesn't have that gig? How do they make money in the industry now?
I mean, that is the big question. You're right. If you want to be a full-time musician, you got to find some way to make a living off of it so that you can support yourself to play all day, every day. You asked the question like, I've made it so far, but I feel like anybody within this industry, whether it's me, somebody that's just starting, or John Mayer, I think you're always asking that question of what can I do to continue something? For me, it's just been playing out live, playing. That's what's going to make you a better musician. Whether it's an open mic night, whether it's a book show that you can do, whether you have to play for free for a little while. I definitely played my fair amount of free shows before I could start getting people actually pay me to play some shows. I think it's just playing. Every time you play, you're going to meet somebody. Whether there's an opening band or a headlining band, you're going to meet them, and you're going to, have fans at the shows. Shows are going to come. Shows and connections are going to come from anywhere. But unless you get out and just start playing, you're not going to get better. You can get better from practicing, but you got to get your stage feet under you. So you go out and start playing, you're going to get better. You're going to make those connections, and shows are going to fall into your lap.
That's great advice. And that advice really has never changed, because even when you could sell 1 million records, the thing that made Van Halen was they did their time.
Yeah.
Right. They were a band that could go out and kick everybody's ass because they did their time. They grinded all the time. And you can hear the bands that come up and try to assemble a band to make a record, and it's not the same. You've got to put the miles in.
You do. Yeah. You have to play a lot before, if you make it just in the studio, a lot of times it'll sound artificial. If you're real, if you're playing out there every day and you bring your band in and you make a record on what you guys play, there's going to be a lot more, it's going to sound way more natural. It's going to sound like humans playing instruments versus, Pro Tools making you sound good.
Yeah. You're really communicating. And that's where the emotion part comes in. And your show rides on him. You said it. You play to create an experience for somebody. And that's where that comes from. The ability to really communicate on your instrument, and nothing gives you that like time.
That's the thing. Yeah. You got to feel comfortable with your instrument. Now, even when you think you feel comfortable, you can still get better. Even with myself, like I know there's still a lot of time ahead of me. I feel great, very comfortable with my instrument and on stage, and I'm ready to do it. And I do it every night, but it'll just get, the more I do it, the more anybody does it, the more comfortable you get, the better everything gets. It kind of sounds like a little bit of a cop-out to tell kids wanting to become a musician or a full-time musician to get out there and play, because that's what everybody says, but it really is real. You get out there and play, and that's where your connections come from. That's how you're going to get bigger, better shows, is making friends at those shows.
There's a reason everybody says that.
Right, exactly.
Have you ever heard the old adage, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that old saying survives.
Yeah.
Well, it works.
Yeah.
Even just like you said, by playing out, if you add a fan every night and you play 10,000 shows, you can fill a big room.
That's very true.
You know?
When do you guys practice? I mean, when do you rehearse the band, and where do you guys work out?
That's a very good question. When you play 250, 300 shows a year, your rehearsals, for the most part, become sound checks.
Yeah.
I work with my band so much that we have this way of communicating with each other, musically. We explain things to each other, whether it's, in sound check or on the phone beforehand or whatever it is, or after a show, we'll talk about things, and then you just have to execute, when it comes time. So you kind of, whether it's in the middle of a show or whatever, I'll make these mental notes in my head about things I want to change, things I want to do. And we can, most of our rehearsal time is really just talking about how we're going to do things. And you can be very specific when you're talking about it, but it's on everybody's, hands to execute that when we get to the show.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
And every once in a while, when you're changing, a whole big thing, you call a rehearsal, and they'll come over to my place usually, and we'll set everything up, and we'll have a rehearsal for a few hours. But that doesn't happen very often. We don't have the luxury to be able to do that. I wish we could rehearse more, but when we're playing so many shows, it's sound check, it's and talking about things, and you just got to do it for the first time in front of the crowd.
Yeah, just for our listeners, logistically speaking, all of your shit is in a room that's right next to a casino. So it's not like you can go, hey man, it's Tuesday morning. What are you guys doing?
Right.
Let's go play all of your stuff is in a casino.
Yeah.
So you can't just.
It's at the office.
Right. It's at the office.
That's right. Yeah. You don't have the luxury to have all your gear, to have the time you don't have the luxury for all that stuff to be able to rehearse. You just got to say, hey, go for it.
How often does Steve from Accounts Payable go practice accounts payable?
What?
I mean, he's got shit to do,
It's a little different story.
A little bit. And Steve doesn't get panties thrown at him at 3 a.m. So anyway, we need to support acts that are playing all the time. These are the bands that are really the workhorse bands. And Patrick has a band that is with him that has such a developed and exercised playbook that you can go out during the sound check and call that audible and go, let's just hit this one time. It's going to go like this. And you've done whatever you've done enough times that you have reference points where you can say, we're going to do that thing we're going to change key. You know how you like to do that. And then everybody just falls into step.
There's two things. Yeah, we absolutely do that. The other thing is I like to throw things at my band that they're not expecting. I like to do it in the middle of a song, in the middle of a show, and there's the crowd there, because those are the types of things that.
Well, that's damn dastardly.
Well, it's just, I mean, even if you fuck something up every once in a while,
yeah.
You know what? If you've done enough songs where you're not messing up,
yeah.
The crowd has fun with it.
That's a funny joke, right?
They don't want to have some robot band up there going through the motions.
Yeah.
I like to change things up. I like to do things on the fly. Things that make it interesting for the crowd, so that if you come back 3 nights in a row, you're not going to see the exact same show. I never make a set list. I don't like set lists because I don't know how the night's going to go. I don't know what the crowd's going to be like. I don't even call up the songs. I just start a song and the band starts playing it. They got to join me. Or if my drummer starts it in the middle of a song, I'll yell back to my drummer, hey, play this one. And it's just every time we play, the crowd's asking for something else.
That's terrific.
Yeah, that's cool.
And
cool. That's doing what you say you like to do. You want to make the crowd have an experience, and having a set list isn't an experience because, people come back to Vegas all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes, the crowd's going nuts and you got to keep the party going. Other times maybe you're going hard for a while and the crowd's a little tired. You got to break it down for a song before you bring it back up. It's just, you can never set ahead of time how to do that. You got to judge it off the crowd at hand.
Right on. The thing that I also like about that is that you've got the band always on their toes and everybody's having fun. And when you throw stuff at your bandmates like that, even if you do trip them up, I mean, when you get tripped up musically and you're on stage, you can't do anything but crack up. And It's just like, if you're watching Saturday Night Live and somebody just breaks character because they can't stop laughing, that's hilarious. Yeah.
That's like the best part of Saturday Night Live.
Yeah. Right. Yes. It's the same way watching the stage show. If you're keeping your guys stimulated, everybody's having a good time. Man, that's fun.
Yeah. I mean, we got to have a good time if anybody else wants to have a good time. That's the bottom line,
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, I want to try a new question. I don't know how this question will go, so it may not make the cut, but So don't feel bad if you struggle for an answer.
Sure.
If you could lift a particular skill from any of your peer artists, anybody, anything, like, whatever, Steve Tyler's ability to play the harmonica, what would you want to put in your bag that you don't have?
I'll start. I want to be able to yodel like the dude in Focus.
Oh,
Man.
that's a good question.
Yeah, ruminate on that
Yeah,
for a moment.
We'll cut the dead time
Because
out.
the very first time that I was listening to Adam Carolla's podcast earlier this week, and he played the song
Right.
Hocus Pocus by Focus. Do you know this song?
I don't think I do.
Oh, God.
Look it up.
You have to watch it for its magnificence. The band is called Focus. The song is called Hocus Pocus. It's Hocus Pocus by Focus. And I'm saying it over and over again so our listeners go, all right, I'll look it up already.
Focus, focus by focus.
Hocus Pocus by Focus. This song is magnificent. It's from the early 70s, like 73. And everybody in the band is a rock star and just does their rock star. I'm done describing it. At some point, you're going to have some dead time and you're going to go, it's going to hit you and you're going to go, oh yeah, Hocus Pocus by Focus. I was supposed to look that up. And you'll look it up and you will laugh your ass off. And the guys are still alive. And I saw like a recent interview with the singer who's, like in his 60s and fat and living in Denmark or whatever. And he knows. He's like, yeah, man, of course. We were doing that on purpose. Yeah, we're rock stars. That's what we did. We didn't know it was going to take off like that. We were just having a good time.
Right.
But it's worth looking up. Anyway, that was me killing time so you could think of your answer.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
Focus by focus. If I could steal one piece of talent from another artist, I'm a guitar player, but I play guitar to accompany myself, if that makes sense. I don't play guitar like John Mayer. Maybe when you're talking about his early acoustic stuff, I'm more along that lines. I'm a rhythm guitar player, to accompany myself. If I want a lead guitar line, I have my lead guitarist play it. That's not me. I know what I do and I stick to what I do, and I, you don't want to hear me playing a bunch of lead guitar. I'll just put it that way. I would love to be able to play lead guitar like John. There are many other guitar players as well that I could have referenced, but that's just something that's just not something that comes out of me naturally. I'm more the rhythm guitar player, play the chords to, make a melody. And I would love to be able to kill some guitar. Yeah. Be a burning guitar player. Even if I don't put that in my music, I would just like to be able to do it. Cause even if it's just for myself at home to practice, it'd just be fun.
Yeah, man, that's a great answer. I like it.
I call bullshit. You guys got to go see Patrick Sieben at Aria. You'll go, oh yeah, bullshit.
Well, I guess, I'm a guitar player, but that should be even for some aspiring musicians, that should be something, good for them to hear. You don't have to be this shredding guitar player. So many people think that, the shredding guitar player is the way to go. If I can't shred, I'm not a real guitar player. But that's not the truth. You don't have to be that. Bruno Mars is one of my favorite artists. His first record was Doo-Wops and Hooligans. And he's, when he was interviewed about it and asked about the record, and he's like, that's all it is. It's just simple doo-wops and hooligans. My songs are simple 3 or 4 chord progressions with a beautiful melody. That's all you need in a song. The guitar solos are fun. I like a guitar solo every once in a while, but it's not necessary. It's not what you have to be doing.
Yeah, that isn't the main thing that chicks dig. I mean, everybody can shake and have a great time to a good song, and a good song that's just solid underneath is I love Bruno Mars too. And I love John Mayer. He doesn't get enough credit for being as bad as he is.
Right. Yeah. He's awesome. I think he's great. Especially his early stuff was some of my favorite stuff ever. But yeah, that's exactly right. It's all about the foundation of the song. The other stuff on top of it is just extra. It's icing on the cake, but you don't need it, Not dissing guitar players or lead guitar players.
No. It's not a diss at all. I mean, you're right. A lot of people have become very successful musicians, not because of virtuosic note playing ability, but like Levon Helm. He maybe can play the fuck out of the drums, but if he's singing up on Cripple Creek,
That was the thing about Levon Helm. He wasn't a virtuoso drummer. He just communicated.
Yeah.
And he could
sing. And that's what it's about.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, we've had you for an hour and we want to definitely respect your time. Before we go, what do you want to close with anything? Did we miss anything? Is there anything you want to plug other than playing at Aria, your new record's coming out?
Be sure to check out my website, patricklasvegas.com. You can see all of my shows. You can come to Aria and and catch me anytime here in Las Vegas. The new record is dropping February 24th. It's going to be on pre-sale February 10th. So if you buy it on pre-sale, you'll get 3 songs free right away. But I'm really excited about the record. Just got everything finished up. It feels so good to finally have it done. I've been working on it for a really long time, and I hope you guys love it.
No, man, good for you, and way to go to do that. And I'll also say this too, for our listeners who listen to the show, by the time you hear it, the pre-sale will be over. So if you still want to get his music, you can click on our link right next to his show.
Thank you guys so much for having me on the show.
Hey, it really was our pleasure. Yes, indeed. Go buy the record, check it out, go to Vegas, go to Aria, check out Patrick Sieben.
I let go of love once I finally had me figured out. I was buried with treasure, but no one came to mark the spot. So I got good pleasure, started tying tiny knots. Said, can you catch me